Hello friends and potential friends. I'm out in my staging area looking at a couple of loquats that I just took out of the lab this morning. And I got a datel pepper down there that I also brought out. I call this my staging area because this is where I bring plants that I'm trying to harden off, because this particular spot in my yard is shaded almost all the time. So that way I can just let them get used to the heat before they have to deal with the sun. Today is August 7th, 2019, and I haven't done a garden update recently, so I figured I'd come out and give you a quick look at everything. Down here we have a few more loquats that I've managed to get hardened off. Actually, I think two of these came out of my compost bin, so they were already pretty much used to the heat. Got my horseradish up here. A couple of elderberries that are still doing good. A couple more datel peppers down here. And this guy that I found in the compost pile looked pretty, but I'm sure it's not edible, but I put it in a pot anyway. Got my gardenia that I brought back from Texas. A few daylilies. My best ginger. That's the one that was hiding in the weeds for a long time. I didn't even know it was there. And there's my, let's see, what was that? A Madagascar palm, I think they called it. Got a bunch of baby rosemaries down here, which is a good thing because Mama's not looking too good lately. She's starting to turn brown. She really should be in the ground somewhere, but I'm not sure where I'd want to put her. A little bit of lemongrass still going. There's the two turmerics that I rescued from the compost pile. Kept them in the lab for a while, which is why they are pretty good size. And there's some 6-year-old basil. There's the 6-year-old basil that I had in the lab. And there's one of my sugar canes that I still have not done anything with. There's the rest of my turmeric. They're all coming up good. Not growing as fast as the one that I had under the lights, but they are growing. Keep in mind that this particular bed only gets about 2 hours of sunlight a day. So I don't expect things that want sunlight to do very well here. There's my aloe back in the background there. And I do have one ginger that's trying to come up. And I believe there's another one over here that's trying to come up. Over on this end we've got peppers. Most of these are jalapenos, and since the rain started in June, they started blooming, and I've been getting handful of peppers every few days. They're really battling the whiteflies this year though. And there's one little datel that I've still got out here, and it's still got some blossoms on it too. So we'll go around here. There's my pineapples. Oh, and I haven't gotten into here with the weed whacker yet, but there is a fig tree hiding in these weeds too. Pineapples are looking good. They're staying alive anyway. I don't see any signs of any of them starting to fruit. There's my blueberry. Over here in my catch-all bed, got more peppers. Again, these are mostly jalapenos. There are a few fruits on them. These have been fighting the whiteflies too. One of my volunteer sweet potatoes. Oh, there's another one coming up over there. And another one over there. I'm going to be pulling sweet potatoes forever, it looks like. Got my leftover spaghetti squash up there. Had one blossom on it earlier. We'll come back to that in a minute. Oh, there's some more sweet potatoes out in the grass, keeping me from mowing right in here. Purslane bed is doing good. Over in the pepper bed, we have sweet banana peppers at this end. They've been producing steady, not prolific, but steady ever since the rain started. And I think there's probably peppers on just about every one of these plants. I've gotten quite a few of those in the last couple of months, and there's still some blooms on them too, so guess there'll be more. These are my California Wonder bell peppers. They've been fighting the whiteflies too, as you can probably see. And this one looks like it might actually be trying to grow me a pepper, but I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of hope. I've been planting bell peppers for the last 6 years and I have yet to harvest a bell pepper. Keep trying though. Got one habanero out here that's still hanging in there. And then down at this end, let's see, I'm not sure what these three are. I'll have to look at my records. But down here at the far end are my Tabasco peppers. Now these things look good. They're also fighting the white flies, but they are also producing some peppers for me. There's one right there on that plant, and there's a couple of them over there. And boy, I hit that plant and I just got a face full of white flies. I don't know whether you could see that. I've been hitting them with the neem oil, but with the rains coming just about every day and sometimes several times a day, I'd be out here every couple hours spraying in order to try to fight those things. Let's see, now this bed I haven't done anything with since I pulled up all the collards and such. This is where I'll be putting a lot of my leafy vegetables for my winter crop. I do have 1 or 2 volunteer sweet potatoes in here, which is kind of funny. I've mentioned this before, but I've never grown sweet potatoes in this bed. I have no idea how that thing got in there. And then in the sweet potato bed, everything's looking nice. In fact, it's looking nicer than it did a couple hours ago. I actually recorded this a couple hours ago, right after I finished mowing the lawn and weed whacking, and my right arm was so shaky that I figured I had to do it again. And when I recorded this part of it, all of these leaves were drooping. But right now we've got a thunderstorm just north of us, so it's blocking out the sun and all the sweet potatoes have come back up. Now I'm going to put you on pause while I head out to the back end. Here's something I've probably never shown you. Everybody should show off their compost pile from time to time, right? I don't do compost the way I'm supposed to. Basically, I just throw everything in here and let it sit, and in a year or two it ought to be good to put in the garden. But because of that, I do from time to time find nice things that I can pull out of here. For example, there's a loquat that's coming up, and there's another one right over there. That might be a sweet potato. That is not a sweet potato. They call those air potatoes, I believe. And I just heard some thunder, so I might get rained on out here before I get this finished. But you never know what's going to come up in the compost bin. Okay, now we're out in the back bins. This is my squash bed. Haven't gotten any squash out of here. There are a few still hanging on. Shortly after I planted them, they developed the white powdery mildew. I fought that as much as I could, thought they were all going to die off, so I went ahead and put my moringa tree in here. And it's up about 4 feet now. Next bed over is sugarcane. Let me give you a good shot of this. There's my sugarcane doing what sugarcane does. I just planted in here and let it grow. It regrows new stalks from time to time. And once in a while I have to come out here and trim it a little bit so I can mow around it. There's my yard art back there. Still have not gotten any bees to move in there. And then we have my other fig tree right down here. It's still hanging in there, so I'm happy with that. This incidentally is an eastern redbud. Actually, it's half of an eastern redbud, because during the hurricane a couple years ago, a big oak tree fell on it. So it's all bent and twisted and hanging down, but it's still growing, so I let it keep growing. Now we come out here to my ponderosa lemon, and here's one lemon left over from last year, trying to ripen. It's about the size of a golf ball, maybe a tennis ball. Really should be the size of a big grapefruit. But I do have some new fruit coming on this year, a few anyway. and they're looking like they might be getting to the size they should be. That one should be about twice the size it is now before it starts turning yellow. But that's my lemon tree, the outside one. A couple of bromeliads starting to bloom over here. Oh, and there's another bromeliad there. And there's another one coming up there. That's a good sign, because bromeliads normally bloom in Central Florida, mid to late August. So the fact that those things are blooming now means they at least may think that this is turning into a normal year. I sure hope so. And finally, something I'm really happy to show you. Isn't this a beautiful weed bed? I just got a new string trimmer last week. I was using it this morning. I come over here and start looking, and I could not take out these weeds because they're covered up with squash. Squash vines growing everywhere through here. This is another spaghetti squash. This is the one I had left over that wouldn't fit in my squash bed out back. So I put it in my catch-all bed. Had a flower up here this morning. And the thing that really thrills me the most is right down here. I have a squash. I'm so proud of that. And all the time I've been growing the gardens here, 6 or 7 years now, that is the first time I have ever gotten any kind of squash to produce a fruit. So I come out and check it several times a day, babying it. I'm so proud of it. Fact is, all I did was put the plant in the dirt. The plant's done all the work for me. And it looks like it might actually give me my first squash. That's where we're at now. I just felt a few raindrops, so I'm going to bring this to an end. And I did an outside garden update today, and several times in that I mentioned that I was moving things out of the lab, and so I decided I would give you a quick overview of what's in the lab, what's going on here. This is going to be a quick overview, because that's it. Okay, we'll see you next time. No, can't let that go that quick. Quick rundown. I've got one datil pepper that I'm keeping in here, mainly because when I take peppers outside, they get infested with whiteflies this year. So I'm keeping one in here just to see if I can keep it alive. Next to that, I've got my mulberry. Dropped a leaf the other day, a week or so ago actually, and now it looks like it's putting on several more to replace them. I have one scrawny little loquat that's left over that I haven't moved out yet. I want to let him get a little bit more size on him before I move him out. I showed you in the outside garden the 6-year-old basil that I had kept in here until it got too big, and then I moved it outside. Well, before I moved it outside, I took a few cuttings off of it, and as you can see, looks like at least 3 of them have started rooting. I'm not sure about that one in the corner. And yes, I do have fungus gnats. I can't seem to control them. This row are my lemons. That one, and that one are from the seeds where I peeled the seed before I planted them. The other 3 I did not peel, which includes this one and these 2 little tiny things here. Now this one here in particular, when it came up, I mentioned that it looked like something had chewed the top off of it. Well, guess what? A week or so later, maybe 2, that came up next to the little top. So that one wants to grow. And in keeping with that same philosophy, this one here, you can see a little green spot there in the center. Quite frankly, that's all that has happened with that one so far. But I'm going to let it keep going. As long as it stays green, I'll give it a chance to try to grow. And we'll see what happens. The rest of this stuff, in about 2 weeks, I've got to start planting seeds for my winter garden. And that's where they're going to start. So, as painful as it is for me to see that empty space in here, which I sorely want to fill up with anything, I've got to resist and be patient. Yeah, patience is a virtue. For me, it sometimes is a curse because I'm not really a patient person. I want to fill that space up. But I've got to resist because it's not quite time to be planting seeds for the winter crop. In any case, that's it for right now. Not much going on in here. And I'll see you on the next one.